We're going to get started. We're going to resume. And before we continue, I'd like to say that Julia from the Czech Republic is going to present her poster on the Open Art Studio.
Hola. Vale. I speak both Spanish and English. So now my brain is very mixed up between Spanish and English. So if I speak Spanish and switch it, just raise a hand and give me something that I will also speak English. I will try to speak English. I'm here from the Czech Republic. I'm a student of master degree at Maastricht University. That's why I present this poster. Our project is Open Art Studio. It was founded by Dr. Pavel Sochor during his postdoc project, and we are still here 10 years after. The studio runs under the Institute for Inclusive Education Research at the Faculty of Education. Our main focus areas are expressive therapy and art for therapy concept. We are specialized at art education and individual learning approaches. We are there as mentors for 10 artists with some otherness. Most of them have some intellectual disability and autism spectrum disorder. We are there as their partners. We provide them some art support, but we also work on here. We build communication skills. He built self-esteem. We want to work on self-experience and artistic identity. We also have expositions and exhibitions where they can come to the opening and see their art pieces. We are one-on-one. We work individually, and we try to develop creative space for them where we respect their specific learning needs and their uniqueness. And if you want to know more, we have a web page. You can scan the QR code. I will send you some posters printed so you can have it and visit us. If you want to come to Brno, you are invited. Okay, I think that's all for me. I have a colleague there. She's my mentor. So if she wants to add some information.
Oh, hello everybody. We will not take this longer. I just want to say that in Open Art Studio we picked up the students as the lecturers. So it's a part of their praxis on the university education. And also, when they are successful in their lecturing activities, we can offer them a job in the regular art studio in the social service. So it's a very good training program, and we have a very good results, as you see, Julia here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Thanks so much. And now we're going to give the floor to the next art studio. We enjoy the presence of the Berbiquí Foundation from Burgos. We have Lorena Said, the coordinator from the organization, and she will be joined by artists Laura Pérez and Juana Elena Ruiz.
Vale, está. Mira, Juan. Tienes que encender de aquí y Laura tienes que encender de aquí, ¿vale? Perfecto. A ver. Vale, entonces te lo apago y luego lo encendemos, ¿vale? Pues nada, buenos días a todos.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Marte, for inviting us. We're very happy to be here to share with you all our project. We're happy to learn about other projects. We're all rowing in the same direction. We still have a long, winding road ahead. It's great that we can exchange, share. So thanks so much for the invitation. Now I'm going to put on my timer. That's a very good strategy I learned from the previous colleague. Good. See if this works. We are the Berbiquí Foundation, Juan, Elena, and Laura, artists, and my name is Lorena Said. How did it all start? Our project is a bit different to other projects we've learned about this morning. In 2013, Berbiquí was born in Burgos out of need. I'm an occupational therapist, also an actress. I cannot define myself otherwise because I wear both hats. My colleague who wasn't able to make it, the artistic coordinator, is a visual artist, and she's been working for a long time in special ed in a workshop with people with special needs. My colleague and I often, when we work with kids like Juan, these kids want to receive artistic training, but our kids went to some art schools, and they believe in those art schools didn't feel prepared to teach and train these children. Back then, I was working to provide support to drug addicts. I was working in theater as well. And I've always been convinced that art is a right and that there's great potential to it. Art is a right, and everyone should be entitled to enjoy art. At the beginning, we considered the possibility of creating a center for art and disability, but we, in the end, concluded that what we wanted was rather a center in which everyone could participate, and that's how Berbiquí was born. Berbiquí means hand drill, by the way. We define ourselves as an association that gives accessibility to art. Art is a right, and art is for everyone. We come from Burgos, a small city. I wanted to place it on the map. We started in 2013 with a very innovative methodology. Our main pillars are art. We address art in a contemporary fashion, multidisciplinary fashion. We also believe in diversity. We have people with disabilities, without disabilities. We embrace diversity. And one of the key pillars of our project is inclusion. We believe that this is the key tool. One of the most powerful tools are to create inclusive spaces and to make the most of everyone's capabilities. Why Berbiquí? Berbiquí is a hand drill. There you have an image. It's old drill that was used in carpentry, and for us, art is a tool and gets out the best of each individual, and it has a huge social impact. And we use art to drill barriers and to build a world that embraces everyone. So I hope that you don't forget the name of our organization now, Berbiquí. That's the metaphor that we wanted to use, this hand drill. Good, I'm going well on time. Cool. I have so much I'd like to share. I don't have much time. What is it that we do at Berbiquí? We have 3 lines of work: inclusive artistic ed, second, all kinds of inclusive projects for artistic creation, and third, paving the road towards professionalization of artists with disabilities. As regards inclusive artistic ed, we have a visual arts workshop and a performing and audiovisual arts workshop. And the first one, visual arts, we work with all kinds of disciplines. Laura will tell us about what she's doing regarding sculpture and what Juan is doing as well in that workshop. Basically, this is a space in which our participants explore and look for the artistic identity. We provide them with tools and techniques. We work from diversity, and that means all kinds of diversities, also in terms of age diversity as well. All kinds of artistic disciplines. Here we have one of our sculptures, and doing sketches and designing and devising the next sculpture, all kinds of techniques. radiograms, analogic photography, which is like the magic of photography, and in the performing and audiovisual arts workshop, we started with a simple, theater and performing arts workshop where we had a great fun and we learned a great deal. Then we did a short film, and that short film received a major award, and since then we do systematically short films. How do we do this? Well, our colleagues are part of the creative process. We improvise, we write script, we shape the characters, and in the end, we perform, we shoot, we edit, and we showcase our work. And for us, the key is inclusion. Here you can see professional actors from Burgos in the short films working in different cultural spaces in Burgos with different techniques audiovisually. Here you can see what we do in terms of inclusive artistic creation projects. As I mentioned earlier, art for us is a social transformation tool. We work with all kinds of groups, embracing diversity. I'll give you some examples later on. Well, our colleagues will share their participation in these projects. And then we have professionalization, the last leg. We were born in 2013, and 5 years after our birth, there was a comment that was raised, which was, I also want to work as an artist. I want to make a living out of what I love doing. Danny earlier said that he didn't like the job he was doing at the factory with nuts and bolts. We all want to make a living out of what we love. At the end of the day, work needs to be something that fulfills you. And that's why we started professionalizing. And as Anna was saying, well, the financing of these projects is hard. One of our battles that we will continue to wage is to secure funding. We decided to create a project called Voces, which is a pun between drawings and voices. This is a social inclusion project that gives voice to creations, to drawings. So we created illustrated products in which artists give a voice to designs. We have a series of QR codes where you can listen and the artist's description of the design. Little by little, this project is gaining momentum, and it has 3 sides to it. First, sale of illustrated products. Second, artistic design and projects. And third, support to individual artistic careers. This is how we started designing tote bags, exclusive designs, and if you scan the QR code, you can listen to the artist. Juan, you look so handsome. And there you have the artists posing with their designs. Another line of products that we are developing are souvenirs because, well, I'm from Burgos. There's a pincho, like a tapa in Burgos, that is called cojonudos and cojonudos. It's like a piece of bread with some black haggis and a fried egg. And there you can see it depicted. And we're starting to sell these products, these aprons. And here you have Los Gigantillos. Marta Frances, one of our artists, has painted these cushions. And Marta loves these giant sculptures. And we have cushion stocks portraying these giants, and not with a T string, not for the time being. Time will tell. And good, I'm doing well in time. We're trying to give visibility to products and to raise awareness on what we do. And artists from Berbiquí have been asked to design this disc in a Burgos festival. We designed the photo call, for example. There you can see the participants when we opened that photo call. And we also support individual artistic careers. And now I'd like to introduce our artist, Juan. Yes, get closer to the mic. Juan, take a look. Remember Juan? Where was that? Remember? Where was it? I was working. Yes, I was drawing some stripes, dots. Juan is an artist So, as part of the individual artist career support, here we'll then explain to you, well, what he does with drawing stripes and dots that are a distinctive feature of the work he does. Over the past 12 years, we have raised some awareness on outsider art. I believe that we are disseminating the benefits of art. Art can become accessible to all. From the very beginning, we've wanted to have an inclusive methodology. When we started, it was madness. It seemed that it was mad for a brother to be with his autistic brother or with his cousin with a mental health issue, working together. And we are disseminating our methodology so that it can be replicated in other countries in Europe. And another goal, another objective is to become part of the mainstream cultural program. I mean, and we want to be included as artists because we're artists as well. We work jointly and in collaboration with the Museum for Human Evolution, which is a museum that exists in Burgos that is quite important. Here you can see an exhibition that we organized last year that celebrates the 10th anniversary of Berbiquí. And all these collaborations help us a great deal because if you visit Burgos and the museum, you'll be able to purchase merchandising designed and created by our artists. We create these ties, these links with institutions so that the work of our artists can be showcased so that they can collaborate with our artists. We have very strong ties with our city. We're very proud of our city. Come visit us. We want to make our city well known. Our territory is also part of our identity. We work jointly with many different institutions that teach artistic training, formal artistic training like the municipal theater school, the art school. We also do short films, and it's very important that we create these partnerships. And in terms of awards and acknowledgments, we enjoy the recognition of our city. We've received the Creativity Award given out by the city of Burgos. Earlier, I was telling you that our first short film won an award. It was the Inclusive Culture Award given out by the Queen of Spain. That was an important nudge. And then we have awards that go out specifically to our artists. Who's this? It's me. My name is Juan. Juan, tell them about how it felt winning this award. I was extremely happy. And there you can see me with my cap and my glasses. This is Juan. This is me. Well, yes, they participate our artists in contests and competitions. And for us, it's wonderful that Juan received this award in the youth art competition. And there you can see a work of art of Juan. Juan is a lover of dots and stripes. Yes, I spent 2 hours on this work of art. Yes, as you can see me drawing dots. I'm very happy. It's great for me to work with dots and stripes. As you can see, I use color yellow, red, and you like pink as well, right? Yes, pink. Yes, those are my favorite colors. Yeah, he loves fluorescent colors or flashy colors. What are the main difficulties? Well, of course, securing financing for these projects. Yes, you want them to be able to make a living, but we also need to be able to make a living, those of us that promote these initiatives. And we need to challenge, the prejudice that exists as for a dream, well, to create jobs and make a living out of what we love doing. I love working with Laura. I also like working with Elena and with Ines. Yes, Ines is another teacher. We're going to give the floor now to Laura. She's a sculptor. And Laura, tell us how you create your sculptures. How did it all start? Well, firstly, I joined Berbiquí to participate in the performing arts workshop. I love theater. I didn't consider the possibility initially of doing plastic arts or visual arts, but I participated in a workshop with Ines, the other teacher, and during a workshop on experimentation with day-to-day materials. I remember that during that class, I felt that when toying with materials, I was having great fun. I started to enjoy doing sculptures. And so I started that day, and I've continued since then. Yes, we're going to share with you some of Laura's sculptures. Well, this one has been made with plastic spoons. It's called The Bride, yes. And what about this one? This is the other bride made with plastic glasses. Okay, Laura loves to experiment with materials. We don't have much time. What's that material? It's Play-Doh. And on top, it's tempera. Yeah, she loves to experiment with textures. Take a look at this sculpture. It's made up of paper, this one. And it has spray. It's being sprayed. And this one? Well, then he started working with fabrics. Yes, this is a textile product. It's called the Suffering Embracer. It's like a huge teddy bear, almost the size of a person. It's a teddy bear. Where does he live? He lives on my couch. And I stuffed the teddy bear with sock thread out of old socks. And what about this one? Oh, this is a Christmas tree. As you can see, it's got a star on the tip of the tree, and the caps are the ornaments of the Christmas tree. And this is the last sculpture. Yes, this is the last one I've made. I've wanted to build a 3D drawing with two sides, a rainbow on the one hand and on one side, and a beach on the other. Laura, for 7 or 8 years, has been working at Berbiquí. She's participated in many different projects. This is the Art as a Language project, an artistic exchange with an organization in Berlin. Laura, tell them about participating in projects. What is it that you enjoy of participating in projects organized by Berbiquí?
What's good about participating in the Berbiquí projects is that you get to meet people from other countries, from other cities. You make new friends, and you get to know other cultures, associations, organizations, different ways of working with art, and it's interesting at the end of the day. This is our DID project that we developed with other Burgos artists. We wanted a diversity, and together they created with other artists from Burgos. Laura, do you remember what you did? Yes, I worked with a ceramic expert. He built a gigantic boat that you can see there. We call it the fish boat because it has the shape of a fish, and he made the holes on the top because I said I want to be able to use threads. So we have small plastic straws inside that are like the fish. All our projects are also documented so that we can see the processes and explain what the experience has been. Here we have these hilvanando instantes, weaving instants. We want to work in an intergenerational manner with older people, artists, people with Alzheimer's, and together we created this mural, this textile mural, using textiles and art to create a dialogue spaces and spaces where we could share between different generations. Another project where Laura was also participating, we were in Portugal, yes, in Porto, and we used inclusive technology to work on work or inclusion projects. And here we have Juan Elena, an artist that you've met before. As you know, Juan is passionate about dots and stripes. Yes, here you can see me working. This seems, what color could be? Yes, with the dots and stripes, Juan has a very defined artistic personality. He loves dots and stripes in all its versions. In fact, this year he's been working with collage too. And here we have the interpretation of what? Juan, can you explain it for us? What is this? This this is represents the Atlético de Madrid, my team.
A ver, está claro que cada uno crea en función de lo que le gusta.
We each create according to what we love and how we feel. So this is his team, the team that he supports. And Juan also participated in the ID project with other artists, and he worked with David Palacín, a photographer from Burgos. And he, of course, Juan collaborated with his dots and stripes. He's also collaborated with his these designs. You see this socks? Who made these designs? I did, yes. I designed these blue socks and the color white ones. So it was a self-portrait, and then we also have this project where people are painting live, and there's no better way of showcasing anything than being able to see the artist. In this case, Juan was painting this 4x2, and you know how difficult it is to work in a big format. But Juan, how did you feel? Well, there was some fear, but I love to work. So you can see me there working, and I'm very concentrated. Yes, you're very focused. Yes, he has no fear. He loved it, and he was creating this art that was later exhibited in the museum. They have all the right to be in museums. Sorry, I don't know what I did. Now, done. We don't have time, but you can watch or go to our website, and you can see how Juan was painting that day. You can see him doing it. And as part of the European project that we mentioned together with Laura, we not only share methodologies, inclusive methodologies, but we also developed a guide explaining why they want to be artists, a user-friendly guide that everyone can have access to. And we organized the event I Am an Artist, where Juan was together with a very well-known artist, design artist. And there was also an exhibition. You can see Juan is dressed with designs we worked on together with the Art and Design School, and they designed this with their drawings. And we also organized a fashion show. Yes, I really enjoyed it. Yes, it was COVID times. That's why we're wearing masks, Juan explains. And we have this other guy, Ricardo, that is posing right beside me. So this is the work we do at Berbiquí. How do we finish? What do you want to say to close this session? What do you believe we're going to do in the next few years? What are your dreams? The goal of Berbiquí is for art to become a job and that we can work in what we love, and Berbiquí is art.
Muy bien, chicos, ¿no? Muy bien. ¿Qué tal? Muy bien, ¿no? ¿Te gusta?
Hola. Vale, pues muchísimas
Hello, and thank you so much. Now we will give the floor to Bolboreta Press from Zaragoza. We have Ana Muñoz and Rosa Serrano with us. You have the floor.
Hola, buenos días.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all the organizations and foundations
Que han estado.
I would like to thank those in charge of organizing this incredible event. Unfortunately, Rosa Serrano was unable to come today. She's the coordinator. So I'm going to read what Bolboreta Press is. Bolboreta Press is founded in 2018 as a cultural association, a non-profit cultural association in Aragón, in Spain. That same year, we became part of the EOA, an organization that we knew well because previously had been linked with the Zaragozan Association ATADES since 2011.
Los estímulos para crear Bolboreta Press.
There were two different motivations to create Bolboreta Press. First of all, the professional gaze in the artistic practice in mental health education and intellectual diversity. And the second is a loving demand of outsider art. This loving demand was always necessary to strengthen our outsider heritage from the Aragon territory. Of course, with the rigor of art history and an ethical management of copyright. Our first goal was to provide professional support and artistic support to the already existing network of organizations working on mental health in the area of Zaragoza. Thanks to the previous experience in institutions working with intellectual disability that organized art workshops like ATADES, for us it was fundamental to approach artistic projects taking into account all of their dimensions. So we try to create a project architecture striking a balance of the cultural structure and the social rights in the best way possible. It was clear that our mission as an association for us was to provide specialized support in outsider art context to other organizations. To do so, it's been very useful to be a small and independent organization that has had the support of different professionals trained in art history, fine arts, graphic design, and philosophy. A team made up since its beginning by Ana Muñoz, Chair of Bolboreta Press, Paloma Ronsano, Julia González as artist, Guillermo Mendoza as graphic designer, and Maria Menendez and myself as art historians. As specialized in outsider art and with the support of Inés Colas. Thanks to our previous experience in bigger organizations like ATADES, for us it was fundamental to have an approach in which we took into account the fundamental rights of participants. We've avoided working focused on the end result, the end outcome, which is the work of art. We've focused, in fact, on the process in environments of mental health, education, and intellectual disability. To be able to do so, we needed to understand the value of our work as mediators with the bigger organizations with whom we've collaborated as for us, being aware of the well-being of participants, that they are enjoying themselves, and how valuable it is for the social-cultural sphere. Our workshops, before starting the art workshops, have tried to address issues that are considered fundamental for us. Therefore, we need to really understand the nature of the projects and be able to manage how these works of art and images generated are going to be used. We need to also acknowledge that there are images that will remain private and see which are those that could be shared and public. Because showcasing is also something that is a concern for us. Sometimes it's not easy to have everything planned in an art workshop, but it is helpful to have an orientation from the starting point. We don't want to go against possible things that might happen in an unexpected manner. Therefore, it's been very important for us to address the issue of ethical management of rights, authorization of dissemination of works of art or other works, as well as planning of a sale of some of these works of arts. So we've been able to work in a more organic manner, bearing in mind not only the aesthetical side of things, which is so comforting, but also cataloging, curatorial work, and the management of copyright. In Aragón, there are projects that take into account outsider art from private non-profit institutions since the end of the previous century. These institutions, that are usually foundations or associations, have managed artistic projects that are very interesting and have also managed some public resources in projects that are linked to mental health, intellectual disability, or homes for minors. And we should not forget to mention some of these organizations or some of the projects of these private organizations that in fact work between 500 and 300 users, each one of them. For example, in the city of Zaragoza, I should mention the Rey Ardid Foundation with their Visions project, ASAPME Aragón, ATADES with its art workshop, the CEDES Foundation, and the Atención Temprana Foundation. In Huesca, I would like to mention the work of the Agustín Serrate Foundation and their Festival for Mental Health and Arts of the Pyrenees, or the Valentia Foundation with their powerful artistic project, Grupo Zebra.
Igualmente existen asociaciones.
Likewise, there are other smaller associations that are also very dynamic, that are also promoting outsider art. They work with smaller numbers of artists, like, for example, Andar de Nones from the Teatlir Association, and the artist Graciela Garcia has collaborated with them in the publishing of an outsider art book last year. Bolboreta Press doesn't have its own staff of artists. Our work has been a nomad job, let's say, because we've worked creating different collaborations with other organizations. We've mainly worked in their headquarters or in their artistic spaces. We know that the society nowadays consumes images in a very fast manner without taking into account authorship or consent of creators. Therefore, working in outsider art, we need to be specifically careful when disseminating this copyright. And copyright has to do with human and cultural rights, and we should underline its protection. We should specifically protect vulnerable collectives like children, migrants, and those with intellectual diversity. Our activism brought us to look for associations with whom we shared the same interest. In 2019, we created a memorandum of understanding with the UPTA Aragón Association and with our colleagues from the Diversity Without Borders Association. And we provided free advice on copyright. The collaboration with legal experts and those that knew more about the law allowed us to learn, and this allowed us to learn about the difficulties faced by disabled artists when professionalizing their work. After collaborating and providing advice to a dozen of artists and 2 small associations, our last task has to do with our reflection on cultural rights in the specific environment of disability, intellectual disability. Between 2024 and 2025, we have collaborated with the Valentia Foundation from Huesca. We've drafted an institutional document of good practices together with them and their art workshop, Grupo Zebra. This collaboration allows us to talk specifically about works of art and how they can be disseminated. This is very good news for us all. From the years 2020 to 2022 and from 2022 to 2024, we were chosen as the residency artistic project at the Centro Municipal Comunitario Harinera Zaragoza that belongs to the Council of Zaragoza. Being able to be for 4 years in this wonderful residency has allowed us to develop artistic projects in which we've reflected on cultural rights. Harinera Zaragoza was created as a cultural space that would focus on community cultural networks from the neighborhood of San Jose in Zaragoza. This cooperative fabric or network also included other small non-profit organizations. Therefore, we became what we now call Llámalo H. The post-pandemic years, we shared space and philosophy in this magical place with the support of the City Council of Zaragoza. And we were able to develop these projects on artistic expression with the inclusive performing arts company Pares Sueltos, or with the visual arts studio mentioned before, Andar de Nones, that brings together artists with different disabilities. I would also like to highlight that this municipality art center, Harinero Zaragoza, has been a unique experience where they focus specifically on diversity and including projects that had to do with outsider art. And this was part of their community culture. Working together with Harinera Zaragoza and other organizations working with children and teenagers like Circo Social or Orquesta Escuela, as well as other organizations of women artists like Ilaku, in 2024 was acknowledged by the Culture Ministry of the Government of Spain with the prestigious Golden Medal of Fine Arts for our multidisciplinary task in cultural rights, where we work together with different sectors.
Pero más allá de los actos simbólicos, desde 2020...
But beyond these symbolic events, our residency in Harinera Zaragoza has allowed us to develop different public and free activities that are linked to dissemination and appreciation of outsider art, like talks about copyright in context of disability, and working on free consultancy on copyright issues that we continue to promote because of our social activism.
2018 hasta el 2020.
From 2018 to 2023, we've collaborated with different art workshops and with mini libros, working with children with development disorders. The dissemination of their artistic work is part of the foundation, and we haven't disseminated this exhibition because that's how they wanted it. But on the other hand, we are very pleased to be able to develop an inventory of the different outsider works of art of the organization Casa de Dios, created by the outsider artist that passed away in 2018, Julio Basanta, and that is located in the town of Epila in Zaragoza. This site of interest for outsider heritage is in danger because of the state of the more than 80 sculptures created by the author and many others after he passed away.
No se ha podido conseguir que ninguna institución pública.
Even though these sculptures are very valuable, no public institution has decided to fund its restoration, nor the Council of Epila, nor any other private foundation. So at Bolboreta Press, we decided to actively create an inventory of these works of art. No one is working on these sculptures that are fading away. They had been studied by the well-known art historian specialized in outsider architecture, Jo Farb Hernandez from the U.S. in her book, Singular Spaces, From the Eccentric to the Extraordinary in Spanish Art Environments.
Editado en Londres en
Published in London in 2013 by Raw Vision.
la principal dificultad que ha afrontado nuestra asociación.
What are the difficulties that we've faced as an association? Mainly, it has been the lack of specific funding and the public acknowledgement of outsider art in the heritage of Aragón. It's not so difficult to organize workshops, but what's difficult is for these works of art to be acknowledged and to become heritage. Outsider art continues to be let's say, a hot potato for our cultural policies, specifically for public cultural policies. In fact, we've been waiting for more than a year to develop in the contemporary Aragón Art and Culture Museum cycle on outsider art. Unfortunately, we are not considered by institutions, either public or private. Nowadays, Bolboreta Press staff also works outside Bolboreta Press. Guillermo is a graphic designer, Maria is an art teacher, Julia and Rosa are secondary visual arts teachers and philosophy teachers. Now, let's give you some more positive news. This summer, in 2025, we are able to open our new headquarters in Zaragoza, and we will have a small art gallery specialized in children's art and outsider art. We would love to once again have a website and to work in disseminating this art that is so necessary for society. Our treasure, our outsider treasure. Thank you.
Bueno, ya solo queda uno.
Only one to go before we break for lunch. We have the Insolit Arts Association from Barcelona. We enjoy the presence of Yolanda Ruiz, president of the association, and the treasurer and artist Victoria Cárdenas.
Micro, hola, sí. Bueno, ya somos las últimas.
We are the last before lunch and the more petite, the smallest ones. You represent big organizations and associations, well organized, well structured. That encourages us because we're very, very small. The smallest. We're only just starting. But this doesn't mean that our project isn't ambitious. We're only at the beginning, taking baby steps. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting us to participate in this wonderful annual conference. And I'd like to start off sharing with you a thought. We are called Insolit Art. We come from Barcelona, and we work specifically on mental health. I hold a degree in fine arts. I'm also a psychologist by trade. And it's a good combination. My first thought is as follows. After having listened to you all, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what am I doing here? What are we doing here asking for a space that should belong to us? It's so belongs to us. It's ours. Art has always been our place. We don't have to come here to call for a space. It's our space. Let me show you why I believe so. Why is it that we need to ask for a space? Well, because at some point, someone decided that mental health should be addressed from the biomedical perspective. And I'm going to make a very different presentation. I'm going to combine the medical perspective, the artist perspective. I always tell my patients I come from both sides, the professional side and the artist side, and I can see reality from both sides. So I like to start off by saying that one of the reasons why today we have to be here demanding this space is precisely because the WHO has decided that mental health is as follows. It's a state of well-being that allows individuals to carry out their skills, address the normal stress of life, work productively, and make a significant contribution to communities. Let's reflect on this. How many of us do great contributions to our communities? How many? And now let's take a look at this. Virginia Woolf, well known. She suffered a great deal. She would be diagnosed today with bipolar disorder. Edgar Allan Poe, bipolar disorder. Pessoa, schizophrenia. Van Gogh, bipolar disorder, hallucinations. Munch, depression, alcoholism, schizo. Kurelik, obsessive thought disorder. Toulouse-Lautrec, dementia. Pycnodysostoses, Frida Kahlo, chronic suffering and depression. Thanks to all of them, we, normal people, have extraordinary places available that they have created where we seek refuge when our reality becomes extremely tough. Thanks to these people with mental disorders, we, normal people, has a place we can inhabit and enjoy. These people have been extremely important. These people didn't have to ask for these spaces that today we're demanding today. We are asking for this right. Art is not therapeutic. Art is not a therapeutic activity. Art is art. Art is a way of expressing ourselves. Art is a tool that we have at our disposal to solve our inner conflicts through artistic practice, be it dance, music, you name it. And once we solve our inner conflict, we have the need to express it outwardly and to share it with the world. I'm also going to speak from the standpoint of mental health. And 1 out of 4 people, you can split it as you wish, 1 out of 4 will suffer a mental disorder during our lifetime. 1 out of 4. And in spite of this, 83% of the general population doesn't know what schizophrenia is about. Do you want more data? People love data, statistics. More data. 14% of the people with mental disorder or schizophrenia don't have a couple, and 18% don't have friends. 18% of the general population and even professionals believe that people with mental disorders are a risk for the rest of the population if they are not hospitalized. 5% only 5% are able to have a stable job. So the unemployment rate stands at 61.9%. There are stereotypes on the danger of these people, and the impact of mental disorders on quality of life is greater to that of other chronic illnesses. And the WHO says that we have 450 million people in the world with mental disorders that represent a huge social burden, emotional burden, financial burden for those that suffer, the relatives. We make them sick and then we have to carry their burden. Oh my goodness, aren't we smart? We also consider that all people with mental illness have problems to manage their own disease. 1 out of every 100 people suffers schizophrenia. You can split it as you wish. And let's go a step further. Why? Let's take a look at the diagnosis. We're talking about diagnosis. I don't know if we are aware of this, but someone with schizophrenia, according to DSM-5, has hallucination, disorganized language, disorganized behavior, catatonic behavior, and negative symptoms. These negative symptoms are as follows, the ones to the right. Positive symptoms: I see things, I listen to things that do not exist, I'm disorganized. Negative: I feel numb, apathetic, anhedonia. Cognitive: and well, it's hard for me to focus, to have clear ideas, I lose my memory, I don't have executive functions, and in affective terms, I feel malaise, I get depressed, and I can even have a tendency towards self-destruction or self-harm. This means that this can lead to social labor dysfunction, to problems engaging with others, and this can also lead to behavioral problems and to a loss of autonomy or independence. Schizophrenia is when someone is diagnosed with schizophrenia, while doctors often focus on the positive symptoms. They give them drugs to control hallucinations, excitement, and they're often referred to day hospitals where they're going to do art therapy because they love it. What's art therapy about? Basically, drawing and coloring. That looks beautiful, doesn't it? Doesn't matter if you have university studies or not. And some schizophrenic people are not interested in art. So basically, the doctors throw these people in a bucket, and we forget about looking at the negative syndromes like emotional problems, social alienation, difficulties to have abstract thought, lack of spontaneity, stereotyped thought, and nobody treats this, nor physicians, nor psychologists. And the people with this kind of disorder are unable to carry out a normal life, not because they don't hear or not because they hear voices. The problem has to do with the right hand, with those negative syndromes, with the fact that they cannot get out of bed every morning because they feel sad, or the fact that they can't remember their names, that they're unable to interpret faces and engage with their friends. And these things to the right are not being addressed, and that's what we try to address from the association. This translates into suffering of patients, loss of productivity, lower quality of life, organic and mental disorders, risk of suicide, antisocial and aggressive behavior, and a very high health cost. What can be expected? Well, that the biomedical approach, and consider everything I've just mentioned, okay? Well, we've described these scenarios as based on the biomedical approach. I can apply the medical standard DSM-5, and based on the results, I can determine what this person can do and what it cannot do. I'm going to turn this individual into someone that suffers a mental disease, directly labeled as someone that's ill. If I describe this person as someone that's ill, I cannot describe that person as an artist, as an intellectual. These people automatically become ill and become a burden for society. What can we expect from these people? Well, that they cannot plan, plan and organize. They cannot remember. They cannot build hierarchies. They cannot even manage their money. They cannot build ties with others, and they cannot continue with their life project. And this is what health professionals say, the experts from the WHO. Good morning. However, well, having heard this, considering all these diagnoses and prognosis, and we at Insolit Art Association, in spite of all of these diagnoses and prognosis, we'd like to show you what can indeed be done.
No me voy.
I'm not going to take the floor much longer. We have many experts in the room. I'm sure everyone in this room can agree on the fact that art and mental disorder should go hand in hand. Here you have some examples of wonderful artists. In Barcelona, in Catalonia, we are a very uncomfortable project. It's like being in the midst of the desert, like crossing a death valley. It's really hard to further this approach. It seems that only the mainstream approach is possible. These people need to be in institutions, you know. We continue to be a very uncomfortable project because we integrate everybody. For us, mental health needs to be embraced. We cannot talk about mental health in dichotomic terms. We all have diverse mental conditions. We need to explore them and exploit them. It's not just something that is aesthetic, beautiful. No. We need to be able to use our skills to also be able to make living. As some of you mentioned earlier, our project is based on the same approach as other projects that we've seen today. We want to help those people that show an interest in art. We want to offer artists a center where they can explore, where they can receive training, and that then they, once they are trained, can become instructors. Victoria, for example, participated in a group that was trained, and now they can teach art therapy in hospitals and in centers for children. That's for a working methodology. What's it based on? Well, we work just as we work in fine arts. We believe that everyone, with no exception, can attend whatever school and receive training. However, as we mentioned earlier, there are some negative symptoms that sometimes, pose an obstacle for these people when it comes to following traditional formal schooling, because the education system doesn't cater for special needs. So with mainstream education, sometimes it's impossible to follow. If you're unable to follow, the problem is yours. It's not the system's problem, right? So in many occasions, we see that some artists, they get really stressed if they have to learn in a big classroom with lots of students. So what we do is welcome these people. We do not believe in equality. We don't believe the one-size-fits-all solutions, that the same method works for everyone. We believe that we need to adapt our methodology. And to do so, we use a system that is called IPT model for cognitive rehabilitation that works very, very well, but cannot be extrapolated, meaning that people become cognitively reskilled while they perform the task, but sometimes when they get back home, they don't know how to extrapolate learning. So we have adapted this model, and we have developed our own methodology. When we receive people, we welcome them, we prepare all the material, all the content, art history classes, everything is personalized, and we explain all the concepts through this methodology that works psychosocially and cognitively. We also work on social skills. Our collaborators and our instructors need to be trained in both fields. We look for people that have a talent, that wish to work in the world of art. Art is not therapeutic by nature. If you hate painting and drawing, you hate drawing. If they tell me that to overcome stress, I need to do 4 hours of math, I would shoot myself in my foot. I prefer enduring stress. You need to love art. You come if you love art. If you don't know how to draw, you'll learn how to draw. But you need to have that yearning, that interest, that desire. And we have a commercial orientation. We want these people to be able to make a living out of their activities, like most is the case of most of your projects. What else can I tell you? And of course, we want to go a step further. We want to be innovative. We've reached an agreement with the School of Psychology. And in the School of Psychology, apparently there's nobody there with mental disorders. Can you believe it? And we told them, we knocked on their door and we said, why don't we collaborate? You know, because your students, when they graduate, will be really, really scared to deal with people with schizophrenia. So after waging a battle, we were able to gain access to their lab, to their virtual reality lab, and we were able to raise awareness. And now they're also working with 3D painting using 3D glasses. It's quite spectacular for them because usually psychiatrists tell them you need to be present on reality, you need to address reality. But when they come, the students come to the school, we use 3D glasses, they wear the glasses, and they need to operate between their reality and the reality that they are creating. What we want to do is replicate this model everywhere. One of the keys here is that these are individual art pills, and the idea is that I, as a professional, for example, today train a group of people, and then those people that receive training can train others and are autonomous. The idea is to make sure that this is a self-replicating method. Yes, and we want to be everywhere. That's our dream. But have people said, oh, what a beautiful project for mentally impaired. Nobody is interested in people with mental disorders because apparently these people aren't interesting for society. When we have visited mental health centers, believing that they would give us their support, well, that's when they have told us that they already have their art therapy workshops. And then we have the associations of mental health that are not at all interested in collaborating with us because some of us are mental health practitioners. So it's quite a difficult stage for us because we aren't welcomed anywhere. And we need to bribe our friends to be able to do our work so that everyone collaborates with 10 euros, so that we can carry out our activities. We have sold calendars and we have asked for money through Facebook. If you have 300 followers in Facebook, you would ask money to your friends, and that helped us organize the first workshop. Well, we shared with you some pictures of the work we have done with a group of 8 individuals. In this group, to which my colleague belonged, we've been able to work on social skills, make them responsible on the management of materials, tasks, exchange of roles or role playing, teachers, students that then become teachers, teaching the participants to share their opinion, to do constructive criticism. We work as we work in fine arts. You do your work of art and then you present your art to others. So it's like a show and tell. And you need to welcome criticism. You need to learn how to do constructive criticism. This is part of the activities that we do. This also translates into autonomy. As for executive functions, those some functions that supposedly don't allow these people to do things. Well, thanks to these activities, we've been able to improve the participants' executive functions. And, the participants have been able to overcome their difficulties. And that's it on my side. Well, I've shared with you some part of what we do. Here you have some images. And that's it. Thanks so much for listening to us. And I hope that we can share more spaces together in the future.
Bueno, ya sé que...
Thank you. I know everyone's hungry, but before we move on to lunch, we're going to enjoy a dance show. Ane Zapirain is the artist, and she's going to share Agortu, which will invite us to discover the tools of expression of our bodies. Each culture has material and formal structures that are defined by rules that constantly change. The way we work, the way we rest, sexuality, care, or the way we walk. The body will try to survive. Ane will invite us to follow us until we break for lunch. And we will have a 1 hour break for lunch, by the way. Let's now enjoy.
Mm-hmm.